Nobody expected this car to still be running. Not like this. Not at 234,000 miles with a maintenance bill that most people spend on a single engine repair, and yet, here it is. A 2018 Tesla Model 3, 6 years old, still on its original brakes. Total maintenance cost over its entire life, under $3,000. That number is either going to sound impossible to you, or it's going to make you rethink every assumption you've had about what it actually costs to own a car. We're going to walk through exactly how that happened. What broke, what didn't, what it cost, and what it quietly reveals about the direction this entire industry is moving. But first, there's a detail buried inside this story that most people completely miss. A small policy change that quietly closed on February 14th. And if you owned a Tesla and didn't act before that date, it may have already cost you thousands. We'll get to that. Let's start with the car itself. The owner of this 2018 Model 3 drove it the way most people drive regularly, consistently, without treating it like a science experiment, roughly 30,000 miles a year. That's a real-world pace, not a test track, not a controlled study. Just a person using their car the way cars are supposed to be used by the time the odometer crossed 234,000 miles. Something remarkable had happened, or more accurately, something remarkable had not happened. No major drivetrain failures, no transmission work, no timing belt, no spark plugs, no exhaust repairs, no oil changes ever. What did they actually spend money on? Tires. At 30,000 miles a year, you're rotating through a set almost annually. That's expected. Windshield washer fluid. And one significant repair, an air conditioning compressor replacement. That ran somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000. That's the list. For 234,000 miles, that's the entire list. Now, if you've ever owned a gas-powered car for more than 5 years, you already know what that list is supposed to look like. Oil changes every 5,000 miles. Filters, spark plugs, belts, brake pads. Transmission fluid, coolant, flushes. Exhaust components. It adds up quietly, consistently, for the entire life of the vehicle. Most drivers don't even track it because the individual costs feel manageable in the moment, but spread across 200,000 miles. That number grows into something most people never fully calculate. The EV math is different, and this car is the proof. But here's what makes this story more interesting than just a maintenance. Log.other owners started responding, and what they said changes the picture even further. One owner shared that his 2018 Model 3 reached 185,000 miles before he traded it in. Still drove almost like new. No unusual vibrations. No aged feeling in the chassis. No significant deterioration in performance. He described it the way you describe a car with 40,000 miles on it, not 185,000. And the original brakes were still on the car. That part consistently surprises people who come from gas-powered vehicles. But in an electric car, regenerative braking does most of the work. Every time you lift off the accelerator, the motor slows the car and recovers energy back into the battery. The physical brake pads barely get touched in normal driving. It's not marketing. It's just physics. And over 200,000 miles. That physics translates into brake pads that never need replacing. Some owners who've hit these distances are already saying 300,000 to 350,000 miles is entirely achievable. Issues which raises a question that doesn't have a clean answer yet. If a car can genuinely run for 350,000 miles with almost no mechanical intervention, what does that do to the entire concept of depreciation? What does it do to the used car market? What does it do to the way you calculate whether buying makes more sense than leasing? We'll come back to that because right now, something else is shifting in the background, and it's moving faster than most people realize. This is where the story starts to get uncomfortable. Tesla quietly updated its full self-driving transfer policy. And if you owned an older Tesla and were planning to use the upgrade window to your advantage, that window closed on February 14th. If you had enhanced autopilot on your vehicle, Tesla allowed you to upgrade to full self-driving for $2,000, not the full retail price. $2,000, and then, during a trade-in, you could transfer that FSD package to a new vehicle. A new Model Y, whatever you were stepping into next. For owners who understood the policy, this was a significant financial lever. You are effectively adding thousands of dollars in transferable value to your vehicle for $2,000. The math worked clearly in your favor. As of February 14th, that option is gone. Tesla has also changed how basic autopilot is bundled going forward. After the trial period ends, continuing access to advanced self-driving features requires a subscription, approximately $99 per month. That's a meaningful shift in how the cost of ownership calculates over time. Not a deal breaker for everyone, but a number that compounds quietly if you're not paying attention. And FSD itself has now accumulated more than 8.2 billion miles of real-world driving data. Usage is running at the equivalent of 13,000 miles per minute globally. Hardware 5 has been confirmed for 2027, promising significant improvements in processing power and vision capability. The policies around it are tightening, and the window that existed 6 months ago no longer exists today. This is the pattern that keeps repeating inside the Tesla ecosystem right now. Take the Cybertruck. The all-wheel drive configuration, priced at around $59,000. Launched in early February, it's effectively sold out. Delivery estimates have moved to April 2027, roughly 14 months later than before. That's not a minor delay. That's a complete absorption of production capacity. What happened was straightforward. Tesla introduced a lower-priced configuration. Demand surged immediately. And then the announcement of Hardware 5 arriving in 2027 gave buyers a reason to place a $250 deposit now rather than wait. Add in the FSD transfer policy closing on March 31st and a confirmed price increase after February 28th. And suddenly, a large number of people made the same decision at the same time. The result is a 14-month waitlist and a production line with no room left in it. It's the same dynamic playing out across the lineup. Demand is moving faster than supply. Policies are changing. Prices are adjusting. And the buyers who act on information early consistently end up in a better position than the ones who wait to see what happens. This matters when you're trying to decide whether to buy now, trade up, or hold. Which brings us to a decision that more and more Tesla owners are currently sitting with. The 234,000-mile Model 3 we started with, the owner eventually decided to trade it in. Tesla offered $8,500 plus a $500 loyalty bonus for a vehicle at that mileage. That figure surprised a lot of people. It's stronger than most owners. Expected for a 6-year-old car past 200,000 miles, and Tesla is giving them something to trade into. A mid-year refresh on the 2026 Model 3 has been confirmed. It's not a complete redesign. It's something quieter and in some ways more meaningful. A black Alcantara-style headliner previously seen on the Model Y, now making its way into the Model 3 cabin. A new 16-inch display replacing the current screen, with resolution moving from 1920 by 1200 to 2560 by 1440. That's a significant jump in visual clarity. Sharper navigation. Sharper FSD visualizations. A cabin that feels noticeably more premium the moment you sit in it. A new paint color, deep blue metallic, has already been spotted on a standard Model 3 in the United States, likely arriving on the order page soon. These aren't headline changes, but they're the kind of refinements that separate a car that feels current from one that feels like it's from the previous cycle at the same time. Used Tesla values are moving in a direction most people didn't predict. The average price of a used Tesla has increased 4.3% since last September, when the federal tax credit expired. The Model S climbed 8.5% in that window. The Model X climbed 10.3%. Meanwhile, used EVs from other brands declined by an average of 3.6% over the same period. The gap is widening, and it's widening quietly. Without most BISO, here is where the 2026 Model 3 and a used Model Y land as a real decision. Both are Teslas. Both access the supercharger network. Both receive over-the-air updates. Both offer a minimalist interior and strong real-world range. But they are genuinely different experiences, and the difference matters depending on how you actually use a car. The Model 3 is more aerodynamic. Its lower stance reduces drag in a way that translates directly into efficiency. More miles per kilowatt-hour, lower charging costs over time. On long highway drives, that difference is measurable. Owners have already reported meaningful real-world range improvements from recent hardware optimizations compared to earlier versions. The performance gap is real too. In performance trim, the Model 3 reaches 60 miles per hour faster than any comparable Model Y. The lower center of gravity makes it feel more planted in corners, more precise during lane changes. It's a sharper, more connected driving experience. That either matters to you or it doesn't, but it's genuinely there. The Model Y has more vertical space, more cargo flexibility, a hatchback design that makes loading and unloading easier. For families, for hauling, for buyers who want to sit higher off the road, the Model Y makes real practical sense. So here's where the 2026 Model 3 and a used Model Y land as a real decision. Both access the supercharger network, both receive over-the-air updates. Both offer a minimalist interior and strong real-world range. But they are genuinely different experiences, and the difference matters depending on how you actually use a car. The Model 3 is more aerodynamic. Its lower stance reduces drag in a way that translates directly into efficiency, more miles per kilowatt hour, lower charging costs over time. On long highway drives, that difference is measurable. Owners have already reported meaningful real-world range improvements from recent hardware optimizations compared to earlier versions. The performance gap is real too. In performance trim, the Model 3 reaches 60 miles per hour faster than any comparable Model Y. The lower center of gravity makes it feel more planted in corners, more precise during lane changes. It's a sharper, more connected driving experience that either matters to you or it doesn't, but it's genuinely there. The Model Y has more vertical space, more cargo flexibility, a hatchback design that makes loading and unloading easier. For families, for hauling, for buyers who want to sit higher off the road, the Model Y makes real practical sense, but over total ownership cost. The 2026 Model 3's efficiency, advantage, warranty coverage, updated hardware, and current resale trajectory make it the more calculated choice for most individual buyers. And then there's the question that this whole story has been quietly building toward. We started with a car at 234,000 miles, original brakes still on it, under $3,000 in total maintenance. Owners saying 350,000 miles is within reach. Tesla offering $8,500 for it at trade-in. If that car can genuinely last another 100,000 miles, what does that mean for how you think about the one you're buying today? Not the range, not the features, not the display resolution. What does ownership actually cost when a car can run for 350,000 miles and barely ask anything of you in return? That question doesn't have a tidy answer yet, but the 234,000-mile Model 3 is already pointing toward one, and whatever it turns out to be, it's probably going to make the gas car math look very different than it did before. If you're still unsure about switching from a gas car to an this is the clearest answer. A 2018 Tesla Model 3 with $234,000 MN and less than $3,000 in total maintenance costs offers more convincing proof than any spec sheet. Today, we'll verify the real-world performance, operating costs, and maintenance expenses of this high-mileage Model 3. We'll also look at the design updates on the 2026 model, including a black Alcantara-style headliner and a 16-inch quad high-definition display. Finally, we'll clarify whether Tesla still offers the $2,000 full self-driving upgrade when trading in an older Model 3 for another Tesla, such as a Model Y or Cybertruck. First, here's the latest update. The all-wheel drive version of the Tesla Cybertruck, priced at around $59,000 and launched in early February, is effectively sold out. Delivery estimates have now been pushed to April 20, 2027, about 14 months later than before. This sudden delay signals a surge in orders after Tesla introduced the lower-priced configuration. The company has also confirmed that AI 5 Hardware 5 will begin rolling out in 2027, prompting many customers to place the $250 deposit to secure a spot in hopes of receiving the updated hardware. At the same time, Tesla adjusted its full self-driving transfer policy after March 31st and announced a Cybertruck price increase after February 28th. Further accelerating early orders. In reality, The extended ETA into 2027 clearly indicates that current production capacity has been fully absorbed by overwhelming demand. The newly priced Cybertruck configuration can be considered sold out for this allocation cycle with rising demand, upcoming hardware upgrades, and shifting pricing strategy. The Cybertruck is now entering its most supply-constrained phase since launch. Returning to today's main topic, we've previously received extensive feedback from owners about their experience with the Tesla Model 3. Many owners confidently say that 234,000 miles is still relatively low. They believe the car can easily go another 100,000 miles, meaning 300,000 to 350,000 miles is entirely achievable without major issues. Another owner shared that his 2018 Model 3 had reached 185,000 mi before he traded it in, and it still drove almost like new. No AHD feeling, no unusual vibrations, and no significant deterioration. Most importantly, over more than 200,000 miles, maintenance costs were virtually zero. The car still had its original brakes. That may sound unbelievable to drivers used to gas-powered vehicles, but in EVs, regenerative braking significantly reduces brake wear. In fact, the most frequently replaced items were simply the tires and windshield washer fluid. The biggest expense was likely the air conditioning compressor replacement, costing around $2,500 to $3,000. Other than that, it was mostly routine tire replacements. At roughly 30,000 meters per year, changing tires almost annually is completely normal. Compared to the long list of maintenance items in a gas-powered car, oil changes, oil filters, spark plugs, belts, transmission servicing, exhaust system repairs, the cost list for an EV is dramatically shorter. To be clear, the upfront purchase price of an electric vehicle is often higher than a comparable gas car. However, over the long term, operating and maintenance costs are significantly lower. Recently, Tesla confirmed a mid-year refresh for the Tesla Model 3. This update brings a black headliner, a detail previously seen on the Tesla Model Y. Along with a new 16-inch display featuring higher resolution, it's a meaningful refinement that gives the cabin a more modern, premium feel. The screen resolution will increase from 1920 by 1200 to 2560 by 1440 quad high definition, delivering noticeably sharper and more impressive visuals. The supporting references were reportedly discovered by an user within Tesla's configuration resources for the EU and China. This suggests that Gigafactory Shanghai will likely be the first to roll out these upgraded interior features, with the European market expected to follow. In addition, a new paint color called Deep Blue Metallic was recently spotted on a standard Model 3 in the US. It will likely appear on the official order page soon. For buyers looking for something distinctive, this could be an appealing new option. On the financial side, Tesla continues to offer promotional financing rates on select models. This has led many owners to consider upgrading from an older Tesla Model 3, especially while trade-in values remain relatively attractive. In the case of the 234,000 miles Model 3 mentioned earlier, the owner said Tesla offered $8,500 plus a $500 loyalty bonus for a vehicle with such high mileage. That figure is surprisingly strong. While Tesla's continued refinement of the Tesla Model 3 and Tesla Model Y is positive news. A recent report on the U.S. used car market indicates that demand for the Tesla Model S and Tesla Model X remains high. According to the report, although resale values have increased across Tesla's lineup, the Model S and Model X recorded the strongest gains. The price of the Model S rose from $47,226 in September 2025 to $5,736 in January 2026, an 8.5% increase. The Model X climbed even more sharply from $51,900